Hi guys, it's KJ with For Life Coaching. Of course, the parent company is Beyond My Expectations. And I'm here today with Catherine. Catherine is a veteran and she is a person who works with the medical devices at a hospital. She
Mhm.
no, not the person, she's the supervisor that works with medical devices at the hospital. She
Still a person.
she I'm sorry.
I'm still a person too. I'm good with that.
Did I say I didn't say person?
Yes, you did. You said not just a person. You like she's a supervisor. I'm a person. I'm good
Oh,
with it.
oh, oh, she's a person supervisor. So
Hmm.
and so basically, she is also the mother of a son who drives, graduated from college, who she told us a phenomenal story in the last one about doing virtual surgery, did virtual surgery at age 6. And he is also a gentleman with autism. So we're here talking about tips about how to get the best out of your child autism, not whether they are or not autistic, just some tricks of the trade, some things that you can do. And I think she's even going to tell us about how she taught him how to drive.
Hmm. Oh yeah.
So, Catherine, how are you?
I'm scared to tell y'all about this driving thing because people may not take all of the tools and try to use them. They might try to use some of the tools, and it's going to require them to use all of the tools in the toolbox in order for their kid to be successful. And it'll work for any kid, the stubborn kid, the silly kid, the kid that just absolutely refused, the fearful child, which is what I had, the fearful child with autism. And it took one thing for me to get through that part, and it took patience. It really did. I had to be patient with myself in that process of teaching, because teaching is not something, it's something that I did, but I didn't think of myself as a teacher. And I had to open my eyes to the different ways that you can look at something and the different ways that people learn. Um, One of the things that was happening, and at the same time as my son was getting, going through high school and we're transitioning to college, one thing that I did as far as getting him prepared for that next step was I told him what was going to happen. It is vital, it is crucial, it is important to tell an autistic child what's going to happen before it happens, because they don't like transition. They don't like it, they don't feel comfortable for it. Change is difficult for a lot of kids who have autism, because my son is not the only autistic child that I've had to deal with. And I've had to watch them grow and talk to. But change is difficult. So I told him. I told him what was going to happen. I told him what was going to be involved. And I got him prepared. And I had to do driving and getting him ready for college at the same time. So woo, fasten your seatbelts because this is going to be a good one. So first, before I decided that I was going to do this, I was kind of forced into it because my parents, his grandparents decided that Joshua had to have a car at 17. He didn't have no driver's license, and he wasn't even in driving school. He wasn't even talking about driving. And they decided he had to have a car. So they bought him a car and said, "This is your car, and now all you got to do is learn how to drive." Okay, really?
Oh,
All you
that's
got
it.
to do.
That's it.
That's it. That's it. Like it was one step to learn how to drive. Like, okay, that's all you gotta do is learn how to drive, and there's your car. Great, thank you. And then they said, "Hey, Kathy, you got it. Thanks, appreciate you." Because it ain't hard enough to try to get him prepared for college. So one thing that I did is a step that I will pass on to parents of autistic children is I did a precursor to an introduction of my child to the new school environment. What does that mean? I went to the school first. I told them that my son is going to be applying and enrolling in this school. He wants to be here, but he's fearful and he's shy and he has autism. I told them what was coming because I want you to be mentally prepared. Okay. I said, look, I went to the school, I went to the school administration, and I went to the police at the school, because in emergency situations, parents don't think to go to emergency personnel and tell them what's going on with their kid. I had a picture with me of my son, a current picture of my son. And I said, look, if this happens, because my son happens to be one of those people who is sensory sensitive. For people who don't know that, that means he is sensitive to changes in sensory things, like super bright lights flashing. He don't like that. Loud engine noise. He definitely don't like that. Loud noise at all, like wailing ambulances or wailing of the fire truck or police cars. Hates it. Hates it. It's one of the things we've been working on since he was a kid. Matter of fact, for a couple of his birthdays, I had him meet with an officer with a police car and let him turn on the lights and sirens with some headphones on. And he thought that was the best birthday ever. And literally, it was free. Free, girls. Free, ladies and gentlemen. Free. So free opportunities is one thing I took advantage of, was whenever I could, was getting him free opportunities to do things. Back to my son at school. I talked to them about what was going. I gave them pictures of who he was. I said, look, in these emergency situations, when y'all got alarms blaring, lights flashing, stuff like that, it might freak him out. This is what I need. I need somebody to calmly approach my son and tell him, come on, let's go. You can explain to him as you go, but I need somebody to calmly go to him and say, let's go. Because if you scream at him, he shuts down. It's a loud noise. It's one of those things that he can't deal with. So he won't be able to respond to you either. You will be asking him to say something with his mouth and he won't be able to do it. He doesn't like to be screamed at. So he can't deal with it. I say you're gonna have to calmly tell him what to do while y'all doing it. And then you do it. Then you explain to him the situation thereafter, and he's good. He'll be good. He'll do what you need him to do. It's just that it's going to be a little bit hard for him to deal with. So I did that first. Then I took my son up there. Before he was challenged educationally, I challenged him by meeting people. I took him up there to the school. I told him that I was coming. I showed him to the police department was there, security officers. I took him to the bursar's office. I took him to the nurse's office. Why? Because your autistic child needs to be armed with the knowledge that if I fall down these stairs and bust my knee, I can go to the nurse's office, even if I'm upset, even if I'm crying, even if I got to get myself together, even if all of these people are offering to help me, I can go to this nurse's office where I can get help. So I armed him with that, and I went to the school over several days. We went around the parking lot and stuff like that. When we went to the back parking lot of the school, my son saw that parking lot and was like, well, since I have my new car, can I learn how to drive on this parking lot? Because it's really big. And I'm like, I don't even want to deal with driving. Shucks, I hate that car. Like, I literally hated his car, not him, not my parents. I hated that car. I hated it because it represented me having to teach him and had to get my mind right with him driving. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Yeah, you can probably, we can ask him at the school one day when the school isn't open and he's like, what's wrong, Mom? Your voice don't sound right. My heart was in my throat. Oh my gosh, I got to teach this boy how to do this. And I did. But first thing I had to do with that driving was the same thing I had to do with him. I had to prepare me first. I had to say what I mean what I say when I say it, and do it in a calm manner, because that's what he responds best to, calmness, not freaking out. And every bone in my body want to freak out because we know how dangerous it is to drive a car. But now
for anyone,
for anybody. But now he wants to do it. So one day I got up for work and I'm nervous. I'm sweating. It was actually cold outside and I'm sweating and I'm nervous and I'm halfway sick. And I'm saying, you know what? Joshua, you gonna drive us to your new school. And he's like, excuse me? You heard me. You might not drive the whole way, but you're going to drive us to your new school. And we're going to take the back way where it's a slower pace and there's less cars, but we're going to take the back way and you're going to drive us to your new school. But at this point, I'm so nervous that I'm crying. Like, he's like, Mom, we don't have to do it today. Yes, we do, son. Because if I avoid this, I ain't never going to get the bravery up to do this. So we got to do it. Well, okay, Mom, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to do the best I can. I'm not worried about that. I know you're going to do the best you can. I'm worried about me doing the best I can. That's the second thing you have to have as a parent to be able to teach your autistic child how to function and who's willing to learn how to drive is the truth. Tell them, I'm scared. You aren't scared, but I'm scared. But I'm going to do this anyway. We're going to do this anyway. And I hope I'm a good teacher because that's one of the things I was worried about. Am I going to be a good driving instructor? I don't know. But I told them the truth. It will set you free. It will keep you from having that extra layer of anxiety by telling them the truth. You don't even have to remember it. It's free and you don't even have to remember it. Tell them the truth. I was scared. But we got in that car and I drove to the back road where it's one straight shot almost to the school.
Mm-hmm.
I prayed about it. Prayed over that car, prayed over my son. And I said, okay, Jesus, you take the wheel with him. Come on, Joshua, let's go. We're going to do it. He said, we going to do it. It's going to be me. I said, no, you got to remember the battle is not yours. It's not yours.
All right now. All right now.
The footsteps that you will be standing in when you drive in that car, they're not your footprints. If you look at them, they're too big. And he was like, I don't understand because he doesn't understand those references. And I said, you're not driving by yourself. God got his hand on your shoulder. You understand? Jesus' hand is on your shoulder. You don't feel it. You might not see it, but he here. So I know you can do this. I know I'm going to be able to do this, even though I'm nervous. We're going to just do it. And he did it. He drove straight down that road. It was no turns. All he had is one stop sign. And I told him calmly, even though I was the opposite of calm. You hear me? I was sweating in places I never sweat. My forearm, this piece, was sweating while he was driving. And it was cold. Did I mention it was cold outside? Yeah, it was cold that morning. It was like 59, 60 degrees, something like that. And all I had on was short sleeves. So it was cool. I shouldn't have been sweating. But I'm telling you, my shore was not sure that morning. Not at all. My secret told all to everybody. It was not secret.
Secret couldn't keep his mouth shut.
No, told it all. Told all of the tea. Let me tell you something. You talking about a nervous chick. But when we got to that second stop sign, which was the part where I would take over, he said, Mommy, can I try it? And I'm like, try what? Because it ain't no dividing line in the road. It's just one straight piece and there's no division of the road. You have to just know that you got to stay on your side in case somebody comes out and they want to drive on the other side. And I was like, can you do that? Are you ready for that? He said, I'm ready to try. You here with me? God got his hand on my shoulder. I said, ain't no argument for that. Let's go. He made the turn. And when we got to the next stop sign, he was like, I know where we need to go. All I got to do is stay on the right side and look both ways, right? I said, that's right. We got to look both ways. We looked both ways. He made the next turn. He drove right to the school parking lot. The only thing that stumped him that first time was actually pulling up between the lines in the parking lot. He was afraid to do that. So he said he didn't want to do that yet. You got us here. Thank you, Lord. You got us here. The third thing you need to do as a parent or somebody who is working with somebody autistic is celebrate, honey. When they do good, you tell them. You shouted to the rafters. That's one time where I was shouting and he didn't mind. You go, boy. You did it. You did it. You did it. Look at my son. Look at my son. Look at my son driving this car for the first time by himself. And he drove all the way here. All the way here. Look at my baby. Look at what you did. You're not no baby. You a man. You a man. Celebrate. It builds their confidence like nothing else that you could do for a parent when you celebrate when they do something great. Celebrate them. It's free.
They hear it. They hear it. They understand it.
They
And
see
now
it.
what happens is you give other people to change the dialogue when they talk about him. You know, you've changed the dialogue, so he trusts you. He trusts you because he knows that you believe in him. You're going to encourage him. You're going to support him. But once you talk about it with him and others, you change the dialogue. So instead of people talking about what he can't do or what he didn't do or when is he going to
celebrate.
Let's talk about what he just did. Let's just talk about what he just did. And you know, I'm a huge fan of everything. Huge fan of it. So excellent. Thank you so much for.
We did it for school too. That's the same thing we did for school. Every time an A came home, we celebrated. We celebrate. We dance around. We put some music on. I act a fool, lay down on the floor. Thank you. You did a great job. Look at my son. Look at my son. And he's like, I hope none of our neighbors are watching. That's exactly what he said.
Girl, I used to make the signs. You know, the signs where you sign, like, you know, like you have the picture and you make the signs and everything like that. Yeah. You know how, like, when you go places and all the people autographing around the sign?
Exactly.
Well, I would make the poster and do the autographs, but all the autographs around the sign would be my autographs.
Right. I
look like they had all these fans and stuff like that, but I used to do that for my kids because, like you said, celebrate
them. You celebrate. It builds their confidence. And next thing is going to be quick. The next thing is you ask them to show you what you showed them. Show me how to do this. Teach me what I just taught you. And let's see if you actually know how to do it. One, you'll learn if they know how to do it. Two, it'll build their confidence again because now I can show you. I did it. And they're free. 5 things that are free.
List them again. List all 5. List them again for us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What are they?
So 1, before the process starts, I tell them what's going to happen before it happens. So we start to get mentally prepared. He starts to get mentally prepared. In my case, he starts to get mentally prepared. 2, you have to trust yourself. Trust in yourself as a parent, as a teacher, as a grandparent, or whoever it is that you're in that autistic child's life, that you're going to try your best for them. You might not succeed, and that's okay, but you're going to try your best. 3, let it happen. Let them do it. Let them go ahead and do it. And if they offer to do more, let them. And if they fail, it's okay because you need to see what you need to work on. 5. Now you're getting me messed up with my 5th one. My 4. I'm sorry, 4. The 4th one is to trust this process that you put in place, and allow them to do it, but talk calmly, speak calmly in your correction so that you don't make them scared. You don't make them jumpy. You don't make it hard for them to make the turns in the car. You say everything you have to say with calmness and purpose, and mean what you say when you say it, so that they know to trust your word because you meant what you say. When you say slow down, you mean slow down. When you say stop, mean stop. Don't say stop when you mean to say slow down, because autistic people are very literal. So you have to tell them exactly what you mean and say what you mean when you say it. The next thing is 5. Celebrate. That 5, celebrate with them. Celebrate, and you can do some more too. Celebrate their accomplishment. Celebrate it like no other. When you celebrate it, it builds their confidence. It builds their trust in you. It builds their ability to understand and know that, see, this process did work. I can do this.
Celebrate good times. Come
Oh
on.
my God. They don't mind when you get a little bit
Celebration.
loud when you celebrate. If your celebration is taking your two hands and doing this, that's applause. And sign language. Excuse me for not using my two hands, but I need one hand on the phone. You understand? But you take your two hands and do this. That's applause and sign language. It's quiet, and it'll be just between you and them. And they don't find it embarrassing, but don't worry about embarrassing them. Don't you worry about that, because they'll tell you. So that's encouraging them to talk. That encourages them to tell you their feelings, and that encourages them to do something else. But they know in their heart that you mean well. And when you're trying to do the best for them, you do it. It's free. It's free. Oh, I know I don't want to go too far. But opportunities for social experiences.
Let's do that on the next one.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much for everything,
You're
Catherine.
welcome.
Get ready for the next one.
All right.